Good afternoon. My hair's looking all wacky. I'm pinning my bangs back because they follow my face at work. Hello, life of Lucretia. Thank you for coming. Hello, Lily T. Thank you for coming. Okay, I'm glad you're lurking. So today is Tuesday, August 15th, 2023. I did work this morning. Um, the reason why it's late today, um, it's just a shift that I feel more comfortable doing. Um, by the simple fact that my husband works not far from where I work, so we carpool, and so I'm waving back, Lucretia. Um, so I decide I get to pick what shifts that I want to pick up. I don't have a set schedule or anything. Hence the reason I missed yesterday, and I thought yesterday I was off, but I had scheduled myself. Whoops, big whoops. But anyways, it's all good. Um, so I do work, and I try to work the early shift, like 6:30 a.m. And so that way I have the afternoon to relax, and then I go back down there and pick my husband up. Um, but yeah, so we're carpooling, making it eco friendly, and not well, after all, we only have one vehicle. So but hopefully soon we will be able to get a truck so I can start using my trailer. It's been in storage for 2 years, and I'd like to be able to use it. That would mean winter camping if we had the trailer, but can't do it in the tent. It's way too cold. But today is AA, and so I'm struggling a little bit with, is this helping anyone? Um, I pray that it is. I hope it is. Um, but I'm feeling like maybe it's not such a great thing, but I'm doing the flippy flop thing of I don't know, and then I do, I don't know, then I do. So yeah, just let me know if this is helping you or a loved one or a friend, what have you. It would make me feel good if I knew that it was helping. Um, anyways, but the rules in here is please no judgment, no harassment, no rude comments. This is a positivity thing. It is for helping others, and yes, it helps me, Lucretia. It does. So I just don't want any rudeness or judgment going on in the meetings. I do this for others and myself because you know I don't get to go to meetings every day. I don't get to go to meetings even once a week. I might go once every couple of months. So doing these meetings helps me with um, with my sobriety, and I really like helping others. And this is the only way I can because it's free. And so that's why I decided to do these meetings. And I also have my adventure part of my channel. I'm not pushing out a lot of content. I still have to get videos off my camera and, just getting the mind into getting that all done in daily life. So I'm glad it's helping you, Lily. And thank you, Lucretia. That makes me feel good. So I'm going to say the Serenity Prayer. I'll read the steps and then we'll get into chapter 11. And then I will read the um, daily reflection, which is an app that you can get. If you just go to your Google Play Store and you put in daily reflections, and you can download the app, and it will keep track of your days, your month, your year. Um, it'll give you reflections on the day for that day, and our own sobriety is first. From that, others will be helped. Thank you. Thank you. So, I am Sandra. I'm a recovering alcoholic, and I'm going to say the Serenity Prayer and get the meeting going. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. And you can find the steps and traditions in your contents of your 12 Steps and 12 Traditions book. If you don't have a book, you can order them from Amazon. I'm not affiliated with them or sponsored by them yet. Um, that might be something I would do. Is you know, anyways, without giving too much information about that. Um, so you can get them from Amazon, and you can also check them out at your local library or go to an AA meeting, and they may have some there that you can get for free or you can buy one, as well as the big book. Um, this is like my third or fourth set of books, because what I do with mine is when I have a new sponsee, I will give them a book, and or if it's someone that I know is struggling with the alcoholism, I will just set down the book. I'll say, "Hey, the book is right here," and then I'll leave. I'll leave it, and so that is another way to let them know that, hey, there is help. You don't have to do it alone. So again, there's a plus in going to meetings. Okay. Step one, we admitted we were powerless over alcohol. Our lives had become unmanageable. Two, came to believe that a power greater than ourselves could restore us to sanity. Three, made a decision to turn our will and our lives over to the care of God as we understood Him. Four, made a searching and fearless moral inventory of ourselves. Five, admitted to God, to ourselves, and to another human being the exact nature of our wrongs. Six, we're entirely ready to have God remove all these defective characters. Seven, humbly asked Him to remove our shortcomings. Eight, made a list of all persons we had harmed and become willing to make amends to them all. Nine, made direct amends to such people wherever possible, except when to do so would injure them or others. 10, continue to take personal inventory. And when wrong, promptly admit it. Sorry, I lost my spot. I don't know how it happened. 11, sought through prayer and meditation to improve our conscious contact with God as we understood Him, praying only for knowledge of His will for us and the power to carry that out. 12. Having had a spiritual awakening as a result of these steps, we try to carry this message to alcoholics and to practice these principles in all our affairs. And my co-host is still um taking personal time to deal with life stuff. So I can't wait to have her back when and if she decides to. And so we are on chapter 11, A Vision for You. And it's page 151, which I put in the description. Unless if I'm running late, and then I will just jump on and say it right away. So for most normal folks, drinking means conviviality, companionship, and colorful imagination. It means release from care, boredom, and worry. It is joyous intimacy with friends and a feeling that life is uh, good, but not so with us. In those last days of heavy drinking, the old pleasures were gone. They were but memories. Never could we recapture the great moment of the past. There was an insistent yearning to enjoy life as we once did, and a heartbreaking obsession that some new miracle of control would enable us to do it. There was always one more attempt and one more failure. The less people tolerated us, the more we withdrew from society, from life itself. As we became subjects of King Alcohol, shivering denizens, denizens of his mad realm, the chilling vapor that is loneliness settled down. It thickened, ever becoming blacker. Some of us sought out sordid places, hoping to find understanding, companionship, and approval. Momentarily we did. Then we would come oblivion and the awful awakening to face the hideous four horsemen: terror, bewilderment, frustration, despair. Unhappy drinkers who read this page will understand. Yeah. Now and then, a serious drinker being dry at the moment says, I don't miss it at all. Feel better, work better, having a better time. As ex problem drinking or drinkers, we smile at such a sally. We know our friend is like a boy whistling in the dark to keep up his spirits. He fools himself inwardly. He would give anything to take half a dozen drinks and get away with them. He will presently old try the old game again, for he isn't happy about his sobriety. He cannot picture life without alcohol. Some day he will be unable to imagine life either with alcohol or without it. Then he will know loneliness such as few do. He will be at the jumping off place. We have shown how we got out from under. You say, yes, I'm willing, but am I to be consigned to a life where I shall be stupid, boring, and gloom, like Some righteous people I see. I know I must get along without liquor, but how can I? Have, a, have you a sufficient substitute? Yes, there is a substitute, and it is vastly more than that. It is a fellowship in Alcoholics Anonymous. There you will find release from care, boredom, and worry. Your imagination will be fired. Life will mean something at last. The most satisfactory years of your existence lie ahead. Thus we find the fellowship, and so will you. How is that to come about, you ask? Where am I to find these people? You are going to meet these new friends in your own community, near you. Alcoholics are dying hopelessly like people in a sinking ship. If you live in a large place, there are hundreds, high and low, rich and poor. These are future fellows of Alcoholics Anonymous. Among them, you will make lifelong friends. You will be bound to them with new and wonderful ties, for you will escape disaster together and you will commence shoulder to shoulder your common journey. Then you will know what it means to give of yourself that others may survive and rediscover life. You will learn the full meaning of love thy neighbor as thyself. It may seem incredible that these men and women are to become happy, respected, and useful once more. How can they rise out of such misery, bad repute, and hopelessness? The practical answer is that since these things have happened among us, they can happen with you, should you wish them above all else, and be willing to make use of all of our experience. We are sure they will come. The age of miracles is still with us. Our own recovery proves that. Our hope is that when this ship of a book is launched on the world tide of alcoholism, defeat drinkers will seize upon it to follow its suggestion. Many, we are sure, will rise to their feet and march on. They will approach still other sick ones, and fellowships of Alcoholics Anonymous may spring up in each city and hamlet, havens, for those who must find a way out. In this chapter, Working with Others, you gathered an idea of how we approach and aid others to health. Suppose now that through through you survive, several families have adopted this way of life. You will want to know more and of how to proceed from that point. Perhaps the best way of treating you to a glimpse of your future will be to describe the growth of the fellowship among us. Here is a brief account. Like four and like one scoop of sugar. Sorry, get my coffee. I'm tired. I need the coffee. Okay, here's a brief account. Years ago in 1935, one of our number made a journey to a certain western city. From a business standpoint, this trip came off badly. Had he been successful in his enterprise, he would have been set on his feet financially, which at the time seemed vitally important. But his venture wound up in a lawsuit and bogged down completely. The proceeding was shot, though, with much hard feeling and controversy. Bitterly discouraged, he found himself in a strange place, discredited and almost broke, still physically weak and sober but a few months. He saw that his predicament was dangerous. He wanted so much to talk with someone, but whom? One dismal afternoon, he paced a hotel lobby, wondering, thank you, how his bill was to be paid. At one end of the room stood a glass covered directory of local churches. Down the lobby, a door opened into an attractive bar. He could see the gay crowd, not being racist or you know, this is the happy word, gay crowd inside. In there, he would find companionship and release. Unless he took some drinks, he might not have the courage to straighten acquaintance and would have a lonely weekend. Of course, he couldn't drink, but why not? Sit hopefully at a table, a bottle of ginger ale before him. After all, had he not been sober 6 months now, perhaps he could handle, say, 3 drinks, no more. Fear gripped him. He was on thin ice. Again, it was the old insidious insanity, that first drink. With a shiver, he turned away and walked down the lobby to the church directory. Music and happy chatter still floated to him from the bar. But what about his responsibilities? His family and the men who would die because they would not know how to get well. Ah, yes, those other alcoholics. There must be many such in this town. He would phone a clergyman. His sanity returned, and he thanked God. Selecting a church at random from the directory, he stepped into a booth and lifted the receiver. His call to the clergyman led him presently to a certain resident of the town, who, though formerly able and respected, was then nearing the nadir of alcoholic despair. It was the usual situation: home in jeopardy, wife ill, children distracted, bills in arrears, and standing damaged. He had a desperate desire to stop, but saw no way out, for he had earnestly tried many avenues of escape. Painfully aware of being somehow abnormal, the man did not fully realize that what it meant to be alcoholic. When our friend related his experience, the man agreed that no amount of willpower he might muster could stop his drinking for long. A spiritual experience, he conceded, was absolutely necessary, but the price seemed high upon the buy it suggested. He told how he lived in constant worry about those who might find out about his alcoholism. He had, of course, the familiar alcoholic's obsession that few knew of his drinking. Why, he argued, should he lose the remainder of his business only to bring still more suffering to his family by foolishly admitting his plight to people from whom he made his livelihood? He would do anything, he said, but that. Being intrigued, however, he invited our friend to his home sometime later, and just as he thought he was getting control of his liquor situation, he went on a roaring bender. For him, this was the spree that ended all sprees. He saw that he would have to face his problems squarely, that God might give him mastery. One morning he took the bull by the horns and set out to tell those he feared what his trouble had been. He found himself surprisingly well received and learned that many knew of his drinking. Stepping into his car, he made the rounds of people he had hurt. He trembled as he went about, for this might mean ruin, particularly to a person in his line of business. I'm going to stop there. So, I know how it feels. I know what it's like to go through all of that. Um, I know I've said it time and time again, but I'm going to keep saying it. I had gone a year sober on my own. I didn't think to go to AA. And I thought, oh, okay, I've been X amount of months or been a year without it. Why not see if I can drink like a normal person? Why not became a big bad idea? Because what I found when I did that was I ended up back to where I had come from. Nobody wanted to be around me. I withdrew myself from everyone. I closed myself off, didn't talk about my feelings, thought I was hiding it, and thought I was hiding it really good, like before. And really, the only thing I was doing was I was trying to fool myself because they knew, they could tell. Um, they knew the first time when I first started becoming the alcoholic part of myself. I I knew my whole life that I could end up an alcoholic just simply because my father was my birth father, mind you, and um, so I didn't get into my alcoholic days until I hit my 30s. My kids were teenagers; they were doing stuff on their own, taking care of themselves. I didn't have to do everything for them every day. So I was like, okay, I'm just gonna drink. It started off, I'd have a party here and there, and then all of a sudden, there I went. And so I got a scar on my eye right here. I smacked my face somewhere. My husband says it was the stove. Might have been. It was just what I was sitting next to, anyways. And, your big butt didn't make it up. Get down and go around. The dog missed the bed. But I thought I was fooling everybody. And my husband and my husband and my youngest son left home that day. I didn't know where they were going. All I knew was I was drunk and I was by myself. And so I started getting stuff out to make dinner, which was a stupid idea. I'm drunk with a knife. Yeah, idiot. But here I was getting ready to start my dinner, and somehow I went blank, completely blank, and I will come to with my eye was gushing blood. So I went like this. I don't know why, what made me do it, but I went like this. My face was bleeding. And so um, I grabbed a pair of my pajama pants that were clean in the dryer and stuck it on my eye, and it was still sitting on the floor when my husband and my son came back. That was a bad night, guys. That was a bad, bad night. So I don't remember telling people that my sister did it, but apparently I did. She did not do that. I don't know why I said that she did, but I was drunk and stupid, you know. So uh, I said that my sister did it, and the reason I'm telling this story is because it does remind me that those things do happen when you're drunk, and that is a reason I don't want to go back. Um, but I fought my husband and my son and a counselor at the hospital, the emergency room, because I had argued with my husband. I was not going to the emergency room. Was not. But one of my good friends was there too. She came around and she was one of my neighbors. She come around and she's like, "No, you're going to the hospital and you're going right now." And so she helped me get up to the car, up to the truck, and went to the emergency room. Well, I gave them a run around, a run for their money there, man. Uh, I I remember pieces of it. So I got code red called on me 3 times. Um, and I ended up with the security guard standing outside of my room, which was in the yard. Oh yeah, it was a grape, you know. So it was open so they could see what I was doing. And I'm glad I didn't drive. So glad I didn't drive. But um, I wanted to hurry up and get the stitches done. Well, they had to scan my face. The CT scan on my head because I hit my head. And I cried and I passed out while I was doing the CT scan. But the lady in the red sweater, I don't know your name, but you're an angel. You held my hand while I was going through that CT scan. I'm claustrophobic, and I was scared to death of going in there and doing that. But I did that. And I went sober for a year. Then I went back out again. And it didn't take long for me to end up right back to where I just come from. And so that's why I stress the fact that having AA and having meetings to go to, having a fellowship of friends that are just like me, are lifetime friends that understand what I'm going through, and we support each other emotionally, not with money. It's it's knowing that you have somebody there that has been through it, that probably has same stories or even different ones, but they relate to you in more ways than you think. And that was my thing. Like when I first started going to AA, I started because a friend of mine invited me. He's like, I've known him since I was 16 years old. And so I trust him. He's like, you should go to AA. Or we should go to AA. And so we did. And I hadn't seen him in years. And I didn't know that he was an alcoholic. But I did then. And so the next day, birthday I went, they gave me books and they gave me oh no, they didn't give me books at that point. Um but they gave me a list of numbers, phone numbers of females. Um because that's how a fellowship works, is the men are with men and women are with women, but we're in a mixed group, but we don't get men's phone number, so or women's phone numbers that if you're a man. So but I called three people on that list. The third person answered. She is my sponsor. She's still my sponsor. Been my sponsor for 8 years. And that's not all. Because I am open about my alcoholism, I also told my boss the first job I had was a camp hosting job. Well, that was worth saying anything, you know. Um, was a camp hosting job, and I told my boss. I said, I'm a recovering alcoholic, and I just want you to know that. Yes, there was other people there. I don't care. I still do it to this day. I'll be talking to somebody and go, "Oh, I'm a recovering alcoholic. Nice to meet you." But uh, I actually ended up with another sponsor. She, however, has been sober for longer than I have been alive. I think maybe a little less, but either way, she's my sponsor. And this woman, I can text her just a regular text and she will know if something's wrong. I don't know how she does it, but she does. And so when I got that first sponsor, she gave me these books. And I was like, oh, thank you. It's all highlighted and everything. I don't have highlights in this book yet because I don't have a highlighter, number one. But number two, my sponsor gave this to me, and I think it's the third or fourth. Same with this. Because what I like to do when I have a sponsee, which I have four, I believe, um, I will give them a book. Or if I know it's a person that's struggling with alcohol or an addiction, I will give them the hint that I left the book. I'll tell them, hey, there's a book over there whenever you want to read it. And that leaves it up to them. If they want to read it, it may help them. I can only pray that it does. I mean, not everybody gets it. Not everybody is lucky to have the strength and the courage and the willpower to stay sober for yourself. It's not for anyone else. It's for yourself. And what I do is now the last job I had, I did the same thing. I said, I'm a recovering alcoholic to the line boss. And there was a couple people behind me. One of them didn't say anything to me until later. But sorry. Um, the guy, he says, not the line lead, but another person, he says, you're a recovering alcoholic too? I was like, yes. How long do you have? I said, 7 years. He said, really? I said, yeah. And he says, I think he said that he's like 60 days. And I was like, good job. You're doing awesome. Because the hard part is admitting it. That's the hard part. And, but I ended up getting another sponsee from that place that I worked. Um, she is a great friend to me. And, yeah, I'm just glad that she has found my meetings helpful, and it's great. And that's what I do it for. I do it for others and for myself because you never know what someone's going through, what the struggle is in that day. And I always say go to a meeting. Like, I know when I need to go to a meeting, actually physically go to a meeting. And that's when everything's going all wrong and I cannot get control of my own self because I can't control anyone else or or what they do. I can't control it. So I have to get control of myself and make myself realize, hey, this is why you're freaking out. You're having your fearful things. Your stress level is way high. Go to a meeting. That's what I do. And so, and I found this YouTube platform a great thing for me because I have a wonderful supporting community that I am with on here. And we're not all recovering alcoholics. You'll see me in chats everywhere, but we're not all recovering alcoholics. Even people that come to my chat for my AA meetings may not be an alcoholic. And people that go on their page and say, hey, uh, you're an alcoholic, blah, 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 blah. That's not okay. That is not okay. Because the person may not be the alcoholic. They might be here just to be supporting. They might be here for a friend. They might be here for learning to help their friend or their family member. So just because someone's in the chat does not mean that they're the alcoholic. If somebody leaves a comment, that doesn't make them the alcoholic. So, judging people that way is not okay. And, you know, but I do understand this part of chapter 10. Uh, the part that got me was one morning he took the bull by the horns and set out to tell those he feared what his trouble had been. He found himself surprisingly well received and learned that many knew of his drinking. Stepping into his car, he made the rounds of people he had hurt. He trembled as he went about, for this might mean ruin, particularly to a person in his line of business. Yeah, I wasn't fooling people, but I made my amends, and I still make amends every day. It's just an everyday thing that I don't even have to try to do it. I just do it without even knowing. But that's what happens when you're in such a wonderful community and have a great friendship with all these other people that have the same problem. We can relate in ways like a lot can't. And I'm blessed to be part of this sobriety journey. I'm blessed that I've got AA. I'm blessed that I have my job. I'm blessed to have the friends I have, this community, and my family, my friends, and my pet used to be pets. So, but I'm blessed. I'm very blessed. And I'm blessed every day that I wake up sober. And so are you. Just remember, one day at a time. That's all we can do. I'm going to read the reflections for today. August 15th. Didn't we hurt anybody? Some of us, though, tripped over a very different snag. We clung to the claim that when drinking, we never hurt anybody but ourselves. 12 Steps and 12 Traditions, page 79. This step seemed so simple. I identified several people who I had harmed, but they were no longer available. Still, I was uneasy about the step and avoided conversations dealing with it. In time, I learned to investigate those steps and areas of my life which made me uncomfortable. My search revealed my parents who had been deeply hurt by my isolation from them, my employer who worried about my absence, my memory lapse, my temper, and the friends I had shunned without explanation. As I faced the reality of the harm I had done, step 8 took on new meaning. I am no longer uncomfortable and I feel clean and light. Amen to that. Exactly right. Exactly right. I'm glad you're all here. If you are struggling today, just know there's help. There's always help. Call someone and ask, how do you get a hold of someone that knows about AA, or do a search on it. Find a meeting somewhere. Get you the books. Um, I know it helped me. I know it helped my sister. I know it helped a lot of people, and it helps them every day still to this day because it's everyday work to be where we are now, and that's sober. And I'm blessed to have my sobriety, and I'm happy to be in my sobriety and living life without the liquor. And with that, I'm going to say the serenity prayer. Hopefully, you guys say it with me, and then I will close the meeting. Exactly right, Lily. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Keep coming back. It works if you work it. Love you guys. Be safe out there. Stay cool. It's getting hot outside.